Today is Turbo Day, guys. Let's go ahead and get these on the shelf.
Let's go ahead and do it!
I just got a package in from CES Motorsports, so I'm gonna go ahead and unbox this on camera. I was waiting for this for a little over a week. First step of my turbo build is to remove the cylinder head, and we're going to be installing this head gasket combo alongside with ARP head studs. Okay, so a huge shout out to John at CES Motorsports for telling me all about this awesome low compression head gasket. So what's cool about this is a cut ring, a metal head gasket. It's not an MLS gasket like a Cometic or something like that. And this will essentially bring my compression of the S52 down to 9:1. That's a lot safer for boost. The other thing I picked up was a set of ARP head studs. If you guys don't know what ARP is, go check them out because they literally make the best head studs in the game. And honestly, this is a must whenever you're doing any turbo build for high horsepower. All right, so a huge shout out to Clutch Masters for hooking us up with a sweet FX 400 clutch and a steel flywheel, which you can't really see here because it's all packaged up. Did a really good job packaging, and I'm really stoked that it came with everything I need to install it, so I don't have to go to the store and buy a throwout bearing. That's pretty cool. Also, this is extremely important, so if you do a clutch, always make sure you have the clutch alignment tool. You're gonna need that if you want to install any clutch. I'm actually gonna be starting the turbo build outside here, just removing the hood, removing the front bumper, probably draining the radiator, and we'll see how much time there is. If I can, I'd like to pull off the intake manifold and maybe even the exhaust to get this thing ready. What's gonna happen is basically Dustin is going to be finishing his 5-lug swap, then we're gonna pull his car out, and we'll have a chance to put my car in where Dustin's car is currently. So now that the hood is removed, it's just gonna make this whole process a hell of a lot easier. So the next step is basically to remove the front bumper. Remove the front bumper on this car. I actually need to start with taking off all these plastic trims. So I have a trim remover and I also have a tiny little flathead screwdriver. I'm gonna go ahead and remove those, and I think that's most of the bolts. Under here is a couple of what I believe is 14mm bolts. We'll go ahead and remove those, and I think this will just come right off. So I want to give you guys a quick tip that I've learned that is very important. So there's nothing worse than losing the hardware or having a handful of hardware and not knowing where to go. So essentially, if you remove any nuts and there's still a stud on the car, just go ahead and just thread these back on, and that way you won't lose them. Another thing you can do is just take a piece of tape and tape all the hardware to exactly where it goes. So this is where the hood hardware Turbo project officially starts now. It's a lot longer to get Dustin's car out of the shop and my car in, but finally it is. And just real quick, I wanted to show you a little sneak peek of some new merch that's coming out in the next week or so. This is the new FTB sticker. Hope you guys like it. As you can see, the car is now inside. The front bumper is removed and the hood is off. So I'm gonna go ahead and start removing a bunch of these components that I don't need right now. The first thing I gotta get rid of is this intake. mentioned this already, all of the parts I'm taking off the car are gonna be listed in my throttle shop, so I'll put the link in the description for that. If you're interested in this Dining cold air intake, hit me up on Throttle, we'll make a deal. One other thing that I have to remove is the nitrous nozzle that's underneath the mass airflow sensor. This should be pretty simple as well. Unclip the CCV. Go ahead and start to remove all these covers on top of the valve cover. It's pretty easy, just 10mm bolts. Next step is to remove all the coil packs here. Now let's get started on the fuel side. We'll undo the O2 sensors so that I don't mix them up. So the one with the foil is the front one towards the front of the car. Okay. Here's the fuel rail, which is now removed. All right, so I think at this point I should have access to almost all of the intake manifold bolts, but before I do that, I actually have to take off the throttle body because there's so much stuff underneath. It's gonna be really hard to get the intake manifold off unless I get this off. So to do that, there's just a couple 10mm bolts here. No! Now the throttle body is completely removed. You can see throttle cable down here and the butterfly valve that opens and closes the throttle, as well as the coolant lines on the bottom. Looks like for the idle air control valve or something like that. I'm gonna take a few minutes and remove all of the brackets and any of the hoses and vacuum lines underneath the intake manifold. Let me check in with you guys in just a minute. I think I got everything disconnected on the intake manifold. Now it's just time to take off the intake manifold bolts. A little bit more clearance on the back section here. I actually have to take off the windshield cowl, and now's a good time to remove the nitrous, which has been hidden under here. So let's go ahead and remove all that stuff, and then I can take off the intake manifold. All right, intake manifold is now loose. Still attached by quite a few things, so let me go ahead and remove those and we'll pull this thing out. All right. So I wanted to fill you in with some of my progress. Let me show you where we're at right now. So the intake manifold is off, the fuel rail is still, everything is still connected, but it's all easily movable now. And the next step is to drain the radiator. Unfortunately, I forgot my drain pan, so I wasn't able to do that today. And then we're going to be taking off the valve cover, and it's time to pull the head. So in addition, I got rid of the nitrous kit. If anyone is looking for a used Zex 75 shot of nitrous, click the link in the description below, take you to my throttle shop, and that's where I'll have all the listings for all of the stock parts or all of the parts that I took off this car. That about wraps it up for this video. Before I go, I want to say a huge shout out to all the sponsors who helped make this build happen. I'm super excited to be working with you guys, and I can't wait till this thing is on the road driving at 450 to 500 horsepower. As always, subscribe to our channel, give this video a big thumbs up, let me know in the comments how you think we're doing, and we'll see you guys in the next one.